Kim, why haven't you done the dishes?
I'm not your slave, Cleo.
Cleo, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to talk to you. Okay, first of all, I have to apologize because I have played Kim so many times. A lot of people have loved it. They've said Kim was the character we love to hate. And I think that's just so true. She's just such a little brat and it's just so fun. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience finding Kim?
Oh, I think, to be honest, finding Kim was quite easy because what 11-year-old doesn't want to be a brat with no consequences?
Exactly.
I was 11 when I got the role, which is just crazy. And it was 4.5 years that we filmed over the 3 seasons. And I just got to be an absolute brat without getting in trouble. And I guess, it was honestly quite easy.
Yeah.
I think I'd grown up doing a lot of drama in school. My mum was a performing arts teacher. And I guess I always enjoyed the more bratty roles because they're fun. It's just fun. You can't do it in real life. Well, I don't like being a brat in real life. So
definitely.
I got to do it on screen and it was just it was a time. It was a time.
It was such a time. Such a time. How was the kind of audition process? How did you find out about the show?
So I was kind of in the industry a little bit already, but I'd only done extra work. And this role came up. My old agent, who isn't even an agent anymore, I'm not sure where they went, got me the audition, and mum just said, oh, let's go along. And the audition was at Warner Brothers Studios. So it was all very exciting and very big. And we got let into the studios, and when I walked into the audition room, it was just filled with these beautiful girls with long, dark, thick hair, beautiful tanned skin. And I come in, I'm sunburnt from the walk in and just not fitting in at all. And I was so nervous, so filled with fear. And I remember it was a 2-page script. I think it was the scene with Elliot in season 1. I think that was the audition scene when we were at SeaWorld. I think.
Classic.
Yeah, classic scene. I feel like you're going to remember more than I do. That was the audition scene. And I don't know. I guess the nerves went and I did it, and I felt really comfortable with the casting director, but I walked out going there's no way I'm going to get it. And I guess this is going to sound bad, but I didn't care too much, I don't think, because they wanted me to dye my hair black. And I was so no, I'm 11. I have, blonde hair. It was blonder than this back then. And when you're 11, dyeing your hair just isn't a thing. I was what's everyone at school going to think? I'm never going to get it back blonde. I don't want to dye my hair. So I actually didn't want the role. And we also didn't know what H2O was going to be. It was just any audition, I guess, although times have changed now. You kind of know if it's on a network or connected to something or this person's in it, but it was just an unknown kind of, you didn't know where it was going to go. Anyway, we got the call driving in the car a couple of weeks later, and I heard my mum be oh, wow, that's amazing. And I was no, oh my God. I have to dye my hair black. No, I don't want it. And then mum's oh, and she doesn't have to dye her hair. And I was okay, maybe I want it. Maybe I'll have it.
Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll take it.
It's 11-year-old sassy little girl sitting in the backseat of the car, maybe I'll take it.
Maybe.
Anyway, so Phoebe Tonkin's actual sister in real life looks quite like me. So they actually decided from her that I wouldn't have to dye my hair.
Amazing.
And so I was super stoked. And so that's kind of how I got the role in the end.
Amazing. That's so cool. It's so funny because we're like exactly the same age. I think,
Are we?
yeah, I'm like 1 month older than you.
Oh,
And
look
so
at that.
it's so cool just hearing like your experience, because obviously like your timeline of your life is like exactly the same as mine. You got the role when you were 11. And
Yes.
then did you pretty much start filming straight away, or was it like a little
Yeah,
bit?
from memory, I think
Hmm.
I remember my first day coming in to like meet everyone, and I met Phoebe and Kariba and Claire, and I was just like, oh, they're so pretty. And we just did like a walk around the studios and met everyone, and the crew were just so nice. Like we were just so blessed with our crew. It was really the best start in the industry that any young girl could have ever got. And I think because I was the youngest, they were incredibly patient and kind with me, like just very gentle and just so nice. Like it was the best start. So yeah, that's kind of, we started straight away, I'm pretty sure from memory, but we were in this really little studio in like a kind of dodgy suburb in the Gold Coast, because we didn't like, I don't think it had been picked up then from memory.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the trailer, and it wasn't far in. I think maybe they, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I think they had sent some proofs off to, I don't know, someone or some countries or Network 10 or whoever it was. And maybe I guess it got approved from those little bits that we had already filmed. And then I remember them saying like, we've just been picked up and we're going to be shown in 120 countries around the world.
Oh my God.
And I was like, sorry,
what?
Like, and I wasn't going to take the role if I had to dye my hair. Like, but yeah, like it was, I'm gonna like probably a little bit wrong in my head because I was 11. I was probably 12 by then, because I think I did turn 12 when we started filming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all happened very quickly at the start, and then we moved into big studios.
When do you think was the moment that you realized like, oh, this show is popular?
I have a memory. I think I must have been about 13 or 14. And I think that's when it really started, because like it did start with a bang, don't get me wrong. But I think like, again, remember, like we didn't have social media to let us know that it was blowing up.
Yes.
So we kind of just had the production team telling us like the ratings, and like kind of didn't really mean much to you, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I guess too, it was bigger overseas than it was in Australia. So I would go to school and everything, and nothing much had changed. But I think it was when I got a bit older. Yeah. And I think I was like 14. I was just starting to care what other people thought of me, that age. Yeah. And Phoebe and I got put in the most awful outfits, and we went into the trailer and cried because we knew how many people were now watching it. And it was so popular, and we looked in the mirror and we were like, oh my God, like, what are we wearing? And I just remember thinking like, I can't believe so many millions of people are going to look at me wearing this.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment I really realized like, everyone can see this, like everyone's watching this. And it was that added pressure of like, oh my God, I'm just like 14, just Gold Coast girl. All of a sudden, it was weird. But like I said, I don't think it was really clear to us until probably season 3 how big it was.
Yes. I really only realized how big the show was internationally just in the past couple of years. Like I literally had no idea, because I mean, growing up again in New Zealand, I was like, well, obviously it's going to be popular in New Zealand because Australia is like just across the ditch. And like that made sense to me, but I just had no idea the scope, the global scope of the show is insane.
It's so crazy. And I think it's even crazier for me because Gold Coast is my hometown. Like I grew up here, I still live here, I love it here. And for a little show that was created here, with all like the beach that I go to every day, the theme parks I grew up going to, for them to blow up around the world, it's very strange. And
Very
like when we
strange.
went for a family holiday over to America, I got recognized so much more than I did here.
Wow.
And Europe, the same. Like we got
Wow.
chased in Croatia. And I was like, I'm just trying to like have a drink, have a good time here. Kimmy's drunk, okay?
Yeah. I love it. So good. Kimmy doesn't have time for this. Doesn't have time. Please.
Please.
I mean, there are just so many things for like me personally that kind of connected the show to my life. In New Zealand, like when I was growing up, the Gold Coast was like the pinnacle of like the place to go, because obviously we don't have like Disneyland or Universal or like all of these theme parks that are around the world. So being in that part of the world, I feel like the Gold Coast is like where it's at for like the theme parks and the beaches, and like that's like the ultimate like family holiday destination.
Yeah.
So I was like obsessed. I went through this stage because I think the first time that my family went to the Gold Coast was like when H2O like just came out.
Oh,
so like I had been like watching the show and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to SeaWorld. And then like there was like times where like I think some scenes were filmed at like Movie World. There's like a couple of times where you can see like the Lethal Weapon roller coaster like in the background and stuff.
Well, the studios were at Movie World.
That's right.
So
Gotcha.
we would sneak through the gate and go on rides on our lunch break. It was so great.
So cool. For me, that it was so crazy that it was like, yeah, like I had already, this place was already something that was really special to me. And then, seeing it showcased in that way. And of course I was the same. I was like, I've been to that beach and like, oh my gosh, I know where that is. And like, it was so, it was so cool. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it's cool to hear that, like how, someone who doesn't live here looks at the Gold Coast, because this is all I've known.
Yeah.
Well, I was born in Tasmania, but I lived here since I was 4. So grew up here. So it just feels so normal to me. Like we'd, be going to the theme parks every week, not every weekend, a bit dramatic, but like growing up, it was so normal for us.
Yeah.
But I can see why it would be so exciting if you weren't from here.
So obviously there's been a big resurgence of H2O over the past couple of years. Can you tell us about how you've kind of found that like in your life with, you said like your friends talking about it and just kind of seeing it more on social media? What's that been like?
Yeah, so my friends have been my friends forever. So H2O to them is just so normal. So it hasn't changed anything really with my friends, although there is one friend in particular that loves a Cleo all the time.
Yes.
In her voice messages. And I don't know. It was like, I guess the resurgence was so unknown to me because I didn't even have TikTok at the time. And I think that's right. I'd opened up my Instagram other inbox and there was all these voice messages and I would press play and they were just Cleo this, Cleo, get out of the bathroom or whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And I just didn't know. I just left it. I was like, whatever, like something weird has happened. And then I think people started saying to me like, you're blowing up on TikTok. And I was like, me? Like, why? And they're like, no, H2O. And I was like, what? And then I downloaded TikTok and I sound so old. I'm like, I didn't even have TikTok and I had to like figure out what was going on. But
we're the same age, so I feel you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you're great at TikTok. But yeah, it's been great, I think. Why not give an amazing show a resurgence?
Definitely. For me, it's just been so crazy because I just had no idea the international scope of the show, and so many people grew up watching the show like in their own language. So a lot of the things like Cleo and oh no, they like didn't understand because they just grew up hearing it in their language. And so many of those things, are so different. Yeah, and I think the thing that has been so surprising for me, and I always say this because so many people ask me, they're like, do you actually like H2O? And I'm like, why would I invest all of this time into making a show that I didn't love? Like, I love parody, and like, I love, you know, SNL, and I love, like, you know, taking the mickey out of things.
Yeah.
But I would never do it out of like malice, or I would never do it because I was genuinely like, this show is so stupid, like, I'm going to make fun of it. It's always out of like absolute love and respect for what,
and you can see that. You can see that with what you do. And I think I remember you tagged me in a comment being like, just so you know, I love you.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I think I get that. Like, thanks, I love you too.
Good. I'm so glad. And I mean, yeah, it's been so interesting in that way, because I always, now there's been a few times where the actual actors have seen or commented on the video.
Yeah.
And I always get anxious for that reason, that I'm always like, I really hope you know that like this is all for love, and like that I respect it so much, because if I didn't, I would not be, I wouldn't do it. It's been so amazing for me to not only get to like kind of relive the show that was like so important to me growing up, but also getting to connect with these people who also just love the show so much, or like getting to connect with people like you. And like, I've spoken to like Brittany on Instagram, who is Charlotte, and it's just been so amazing. I know you're saying like, obviously when you went to America, you were recognized, but do you still get recognized like in Australia and the Gold Coast to this day?
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, how? Because it's been so long, and I know I'm obviously still the same person, but I mean, I look different. Come on.
Yes.
But sometimes I'll be wearing like a hat and sunnies, and people have recognized me, and I literally say, how? And they're like, I don't know. But yeah, they're always so, well, actually there's two types of fans I've found.
Yes.
And I think that there's something that I've had to get used to, which is having a younger audience as a fan base. They're not always going to be as mature as you want. If you're like, you know, out at lunch or in the shopping mall, I appreciate when a fan comes up and they're like, oh, you know, do you mind if we get a photo? We love the show. Like, you know, thank you so much. And, you know, ask me a couple of questions. That's amazing. And that's great. And that's, you know, just like being straight up with it. But then there are the other type that, like, I guess, because they're always young girls, and like they'll follow me around Pacific Fair. That's like the shopping center here. They'll like be filming me eating lunch. And I'm like, just like come up and say hey. And like, you know, that gets to me and makes me feel really uncomfortable. Yes. And I think too, because I did get a lot of bullying online, I think I'm hyper aware, and I'm extra kind of sensitive to if I see someone like giggling at me and trying to like zoom in when I'm like out with Luke or out with my friends. I'm like, you can't just do that. And I know people do that all the time. Like if I were to see Beyonce, I'd be like, you know, like see me. But I don't know. I guess, there's two types, and I definitely appreciate one type of fan more than the other.
It's so unacceptable to have that. And that's exactly what Brittany was saying as well. I think for years, she just dealt with like so much online hate and bullying. And it's like,
it's so ridiculous.
Just
it's honestly crazy. Like, so Brittany and I copped the most out of everyone. Of course, we played unlikable characters.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, I'm so shocked to know that people literally cannot separate the actor from the character. And like Brittany and I, we talk all the time. Brittany is the most incredible person, and she's dealt with a lot.
Yeah.
And so have I. So we bond over that. And it just, like, don't people understand that an actor is not actually their character? Like, are these people thinking that a person who plays a murderer in a movie is a murderer? Like, and also Kim wasn't even that bad. Like, she was a brat, but I didn't, you know, but some of the stuff that people like have said. And honestly, I don't actually get it anymore, hardly ever. And I think it's because I did like a video calling my bullies out on YouTube.
Nice.
I actually said all of their names and said what they said.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I was doing it for like, yeah, of course I was doing it for me, but I was mostly doing it for other people as well, because these people that sit behind their keyboards and say whatever they want, they don't know if the person on the receiving end is, you know, emotionally stable. They don't know what they're going through. They don't know anything. And luckily, I have always been very supported by my family and my friends, and they were always there to tell me that I am not the things that people were telling me that I was. But if I didn't have them, who knows? Like, this is serious stuff, and people think that they can hide behind their keyboards and tell people that they're fat and ugly and that they should kill themselves. You know, you don't know what the person on the receiving end is going through, and you don't know if that's going to be the comment to tip them over the edge. Like, I was in the supermarket once, and the comments used to really get to me when I was like 11, 12, 13, 14.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Of course. And then I got really good at just putting them away and knowing that, you know, they didn't know me and it was just jealousy or, you know, whatever.
Yes.
Then though, it wasn't that long ago. It was probably like 5 years ago. I was in Coles and I got these comments like boom, 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 over and over and over again, saying, why would you choose to play a character like Kim? You should go kill yourself. And that to me was like, so you're attaching me to Kim. And why, even if I was Kim, should I kill myself? Like, come on, like, seriously. Anyway, then she kept commenting, or it was a girl's name, but she kept commenting saying, I actually can see you. Why don't I come kill you myself? And I freaked out. Like, wow. It was so awful.
That's awful.
And I left Coles in tears.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who are these people and why? They just sit there and they do it for sport. And it's just awful. It's just awful. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is next level. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. And like I say, I was so lucky I'm very lucky to have amazing friends and family. Yeah. So I was always okay. But what if I wasn't, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just think it's, as actors, in one way, how incredible is it that we created this character and that we played this character that elicits this response in people? Yeah. And I always say, I genuinely always think that about Brittany, because I just think the way that she portrayed that character was just so... That is just such a credit to her ability as an actor.
Exactly.
Because it was so, it did, like, you heard her say those lines and you were like,
yeah, you're meant to be frustrated.
That is what you're meant to be. Yes. That is literally the point of what acting is. And it's crazy. It's sad, and it's completely unacceptable that we have to deal with that in our profession.
Yes.
But it's just that kind of double-edged sword of thing, like, that's completely acceptable, but also like, I did a good job.
Yeah. Like, I'll get comments like, I hated Kim, and I'm like, well, thank you.
Good.
I did my job well.
Where's
like,
my Emmy?
Yes. But like, dude, separate it. Like, it blows my mind. And I guess, again, like how I said, the fans of H2O are usually younger, and they don't understand. And I had to remind myself of that many times, being like, they're just young. They don't mean anything. They are just young and they don't quite understand. Like, I'm sure a 30-year-old isn't going to be like, why did you say yes to playing Kim? You should kill yourself. Well, we don't know, but like,
probably
it's the younger people like that kind of don't think, and they can't understand the, like, what could happen on the other side, I guess. Yeah.
Dang, it's really, really insane. But again, testament, huge ups to both you and Brittany for creating those characters that still
Thank you.
elicit such a response. That's so cool. So cool.
So cool.
So cool. I have to ask, what are
Yeah.
some of your most memorable lines from the show as Kim? Are there those lines that people always like, can you say this? Or
You know, not so much. I've
Yeah.
actually never had that until you came along. Thanks,
I'm
Tyler.
sorry. You're welcome.
Say Cleo, say no, Cleo. But no, I love it. I think it's so funny. But one of my favorite lines was, I can't remember what season, you probably will. Phoebe, as in character Cleo, came down and I think she was going on a date or something. And I whispered to Deb, who played the first mum. She's a legend, by the way. We're like family friends. She's,
oh my God,
she's such a legend. And I whispered to her and said something like, why? She's so ugly. It's Phoebe. She's like the most beautiful
Stunning.
looking person in this world. And I got permission to say, but why? She's so ugly. And the crew kept laughing because it was just obviously so untrue. And it was just so funny. And we just had such a funny time filming that scene because everyone was just like, it's just such a ridiculous line. And it just made it funny, you know,
Oh my God.
in the fact that it was just so wrong.
I love it.
I did have, I mean, this is kind of off your question, but kind of not. It was like my least favorite line.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So it was in season 3. We were out the back of the Satori house and I had this line and it was something like, well, I'm just going to make the names up because I can't remember. Tyler told Kim that Cleo said to Emma and Ricky said there was going to be a party there tonight, but it was all different names. It wasn't like characters' names. It was all random names. And I had to, on a certain line that Phoebe said, walk toward my on-screen dad. Then when my on-screen dad said something, I think I had to I can't remember. There was a lot of actions and then I had to land on this mark at a certain time as well because I wasn't meant to be hearing what they were saying before. Can't really remember. And I got there and I could not for the life of me get the line. I could not remember the line. And I reckon it got to about the 10th take. And we have a crew of 70, 80 people. They're paying a lot for the location. We need to wrap at a certain time or everyone has to get paid overtime. There's a lot of pressure. And I could not get it. And you know, when the anxiety hits and people were starting to say to me, remember it this way, remember it that way, you can do it. And nothing's going in.
And it just becomes way too overwhelming.
Oh, so overwhelming. And I finally got it. And I still to this day can't even watch that scene because I'm just yuck. I remember the feeling and everyone cheered and clapped and they were being lovely, but I just burst into tears and I was so embarrassed. I just felt so unworthy of being on a professional set, to be honest, because I was why can't I get this line? I just couldn't get it. And it was so embarrassing. And I think it actually started some fears for me, moving forward in the industry of, you know, the pressure and forgetting lines and performing well. And that fear of regretting and being disappointed. Yeah.
I so relate to that. And even just auditions, I mean, I know everyone hates auditions, but there have definitely been things in auditions that have happened or directors have said to me that it really does stick with you and you really carry that through. And obviously we're constantly working on ourselves to, you know, just to keep honing our craft and to keep being better. But those situations, it's so stressful. And I mean, it happens to everyone, but it doesn't make it any easier.
It doesn't. Yeah. I do a lot of work on the power of the mind and power of positivity and stuff. And it just really interests me. And it's funny that you say that one thing that someone can say one thing can affect so much. And because we have like our subconscious mind, no, we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, and whatever is impressed into our conscious mind through either repetition or emotion has no choice but to be impressed down into the subconscious mind where it stays. So if, you know, that director said something to you and it like, humiliated you or made you feel, you know, less than who you are or not worthy, that goes straight down and like starts the limiting beliefs. And then, you know, moving forward, you have that blocking you from the success of an audition, or like, you know, you might have those mantras that are like, you know, I've got this, I'm amazing, I'm a great actor, I'm worthy of this. But if you've got this little like playback machine going in your subconscious of I'm not good enough because that director told me I wasn't, it blocks it. And it's super interesting. I love all that stuff.
That's so cool. That's what your blog is now, right?
Yeah, well, it started as a blog and now it's a full-blown like company. So
oh my gosh, wow.
I'm obsessed with it. I'm so obsessed with it. And it's so nice. And you will understand as well, like the acting industry can get really negative and really competitive. So it's so nice to have Pass Around the Smile where it's just positive. It's so literally cool. Just positive. And I love it.
That's so amazing.
Bloody love it.
So cool. Bloody love it. We love that.
Bloody love it.
Going back to saying, I just love how the writers manage to keep bringing it back to this idea about doing the dishes. Like whenever I think of like, I just always think of her being like, have to do the dishes. Like it's always like so much saga. And then it blew up in that episode where like Cleo finally like ran away. I just think it's so funny, like talking about, back to like favorite lines, like so many sagas about the dishes, so many about the dishes.
So many. And it's so funny that like, I love that you pick up on that because like, to be honest, I didn't even notice that I was always at the dish sink. Like thinking back, I'm like, I did. They did make me do the dishes a lot. But it's so funny the things that you pick up on. I had like many favorite scenes as well. And then not so favorite scenes, like the scene where Trent Sullivan, who played Elliot, and I were on the ride at SeaWorld with Angus, who played Lewis.
Oh my God, the Bermuda Triangle. R.I.P. That ride was so good.
R.I.P. It's gone.
Amazing. I know, and I loved it.
Yeah, so much history.
I know.
This is so bad.
Oh my God, please.
I hope Jonathan doesn't watch this and he's like, they wasted me so much money. But we kept on purpose mucking it up. So we'd get to go again and again and again. And I think we ended up going on the ride like, oh God, it would have been like 17 times or something.
Oh my God.
Because all they needed was us coming down and screaming. But me and Trent would just stuff it up every time. It was such rat bags. And God, that was the best scene.
Yeah.
And then my least favorite scene was the pelican.
Oh yes, the pelican scene. That the kidnapping of the pelican.
It's actually the same episode, right? Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Hurricane Angela.
Oh yes, the little
cousin.
Yeah.
So I have a phobia of birds. Not so much pelicans, but magpies. I have a phobia of magpies. Like I've actually had to get hypnotized. Like it's a bad fear.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so sorry to interrupt you, but that just reminds me. When I first came to America, so many people were like to me, oh my God, there's so many snakes and spiders and like, how is it living with them? And I'm like, they're nothing compared to magpies.
Nothing.
Like nothing.
I'd rather a spider run over my face than a magpie.
Same. Like literally, like when I lived in Melbourne, I like was especially like during swooping season.
Oh no.
I'd like walk and I'm like, if I saw like spiders or snakes, I would be like, I mean, I very rarely saw snakes, but like I saw spiders all the time and like the huntsman, you know, like the huge ones. I'm like, oh, whatever. But if I saw a magpie, I was like, nope. I'm like, getting out of there because I saw so many people get swooped. I had friends who had like chunks taken out of their heads and so I totally understand. I totally get
they're actually not okay. Like they are not okay.
They need to
yes. So I was already terrified of birds, like magpies. But so then I had to be in a hallway with the pelican, and pelicans are friggin' huge. Have you seen their feet?
Massive.
Like,
Yes. I've seen them at SeaWorld. I saw them when I went there.
Oh, honestly,
Yeah.
friggin', I'll say friggin' instead, terrifying. So they were so good. Like, I was meant to be way closer to the bird, and there was like a bird wrangler on set. I remember seeing on the call sheet, because the night before I was like, oh no, it's pelican day. And it was like bird wrangler, and I was like, at least there's a bird wrangler. But I didn't actually have to get that close to it, but it was still really scary.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Going off those, talking about those scenes and things that you had to do. Were you ever like jealous that you never got to be in like the underwater swimming scenes and like getting to wear the mermaid tail, getting to be in the moon pool? Because I mean, that's like the dream, right?
Yes. Jealous. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I was jealous. Little Kimmy was jealous.
Of course.
I'll never forget too, we went on like a girls' trip to Byron. This is like not that long ago, and we all got stitched up with our cups, and on my cup was always a sister, never a mermaid.
Ah, classic.
I was like, sad. Yeah, but I did get to try the tail on for a bloopers reel. Yes. And it was honestly the most incredible thing ever. So the tails are so heavy. Yeah. And for every mermaid, I think from memory, they needed 3 to 4 safety guys. Wow. Because it's so heavy. Like,
yeah, you're just,
yeah. But when I put it on, they put me on a table, and they did this to all the mermaids. The mermaids were used to it. It was just a day of,
it was just a daily thing for them.
I on the other hand. Anyway, they put me in the tail, and it's so heavy, and then they flip the table up, and I just went full into the tank. Oh, wow. And honestly, Tyler, you would love it. Like, you kick the tail, and you just like, it's like you're a mermaid, like you're a proper dolphin. And it got to a point where they're like, all right, Cleo, like, we've got what we need, like, get out.
You're like, no, Cleo,
let me play.
Oh my God.
But it was amazing. But yes, I was so jealous. And when we were filming, often like I'd have a scene in the morning and then say in the afternoon, so I'd have to like go to the tutor bus in the middle and do my schoolwork, but I'd like sneak out and watch them film the scenes with the dolphins, like in the coral reef in SeaWorld. And I was just like, and they used to put milk in their eyes because their eyes would get so sore. Yeah,
there you go. But the more you know. Wow.
Yeah. So long story short, yes, I was jealous.
Oh my gosh. So obviously I know that they filmed in the tanks at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
I've tried to figure this out. Because, as you know, I'm avid theme park Gold Coast fan. Yeah. So which area of the park were those tanks? Was it like the Shark area? Is it like the Shark Bay area?
So they did film some in the Shark Bay, I believe, like when Lewis, did he swim with the sharks?
Some Zane and like remember. Like there was like Zane swimming with the sharks and stuff like Zane, that. Yeah.
But it was not in the park. It was like closed. It was for the dolphins to like chill, I think. Okay, because gotcha. Every time we were there was no one there. And it was like, there was like this big white kind of building that we would all hang in. So it wasn't actually a part of the park.
Gotcha. So
it was at SeaWorld, but it was like fenced off, I'm pretty sure. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure. And maybe you could go there if you paid for like a proper dolphin swim or something.
Yes.
I know there were tanks in the actual SeaWorld, but I think the really pretty one was behind. And then we also had this huge just pool thing at the back of the studios in Warner Brothers, like near Movie World. that was like, I think a lot of other films and stuff use that as well.
Yeah. What, like the moon pool set and stuff that was all like in that area?
That was so cool. So the moon pool was actually inside a studio. It was like a big cave from the outside, but like covered in like foil almost from the outside. So it looked really awful on the outside. You're like, what is this big thing? And then you walked upstairs and inside was the moon pool. Oh my God. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so cool.
The fact that those girls had the opportunity to film like so many kind of intense things as like, especially for young actors, like doing all of that underwater work and doing that's just so like, they were just given such an amazing start. Like, oh my God. I mean, you all were really like, definitely you all were. But I mean, I think as actors, you know, we have like those kind of like bucket list things that we want to do. And for me, like a bucket list thing is to do like a tank scene, you know, like in Harry Potter when he's doing, you know, like the lake challenge when he's like, you know, underwater or like even
that's
like
scary
things. I know, like it's I feel like in heaps of movies there's, you know, like when cars crash into water and they like go down like in the water. Like I want to film a scene like
let's
that.
Make
like,
this happen for you. Let's manifest it.
Oh my God, let's do it. Okay, manifest it.
Easy.
It. Actually, oh my God. Yes, I want to talk more about that because manifesting is a concept that is like relatively new to me, but I'm so on board.
How long do we have?
I know, right? How long? I know. Jeez. So you went to LA for a little while. Did you live in?
Yeah. So finished H2O when I was in grade 11. Did year 12 as like normal kid at school, didn't have any time off, loved it because it was hard, like having time off and all of that. Then the first few years out of school, got a few little acting jobs here and there, but nothing huge. Got treated like crap by some agencies and got like just in such a negative headspace. And then it was about, I think it wasn't until 2016 that I first got my O1 visa.
Amazing.
Like an acting visa for the States, and went over. And my gosh, it's full on over there.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
And
so sorry, you go. No, I was going to say, who did you move over with?
So I moved over with my friend Jess, Jessica Green. You might know her. She's an actor. She's on The Outpost now.
Gotcha.
So moved over with her boyfriend at the time and Luke, my now husband, which is so weird to say.
I know. Congratulations. So I meant to say that was recent, right?
Yeah, December.
Oh, congratulations.
That's
so exciting. Yeah.
Thank you. And congratulations on your engagement too.
Thank you.
So we went over us four. So it was a little less daunting because it was like a group trip. We're all from the Gold Coast. And to be honest, that first, we only lasted about 3 months. It was just fun though. Like we did a lot of traveling. We did a lot of auditions, Jess and I, but it was nicer because we had our partners there and it wasn't as daunting and as scary. So that was like quite fun, but still full on. Then we came home and then we went back for pilot season the next year, me and Jess.
Cool.
And that was hard. Like so hard. And then I went back again the third year. I only could last like 3 to 4 months at a time. I just did not fit in LA. I really didn't. Like I found a lot of people were just there for money and fame. And to be honest, I don't ever want fame. I like acting because I like acting. I love acting. I do not like the fame that comes with it. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, over there, it's so different. Third time I went was better because I had found some more friends. They were actually all from the Gold Coast, which is funny, but we met over there and now we're like such close friends. Cool. I was a bit more confident in auditioning and I was writing in some shoots in, oh my God, tongue twisted, in some studios over there. And just got a lot more momentum. I was studying at Groundlings. Actually, cool. Billie Eilish's mum was my teacher, which is so crazy.
So wow, crazy.
But yeah, so a bit of a whirlwind.
I mean, obviously you're doing all of this amazing work with your pass the smile.
Pass around the smile.
Pass around the smile. That obviously is like acting, and that world, is that still what you very much want to pursue?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I started Pass Around the Smile the year before I went to LA because of how negative I was feeling within the industry. Cool. And I thought, you know, if I learn more about this manifesting stuff, I can manifest my dream role. Yes. But I realized that I was searching for all the wrong things. Like I was so attached to this one outcome, but the universe, or like, and again, I use the word universe, but that's just to me, like, you know, whatever it is for you. Like, you don't have to be spiritual, or I'm not like religious or anything like that, but the universe had another plan. Yes. And when I finally gave up the need to control and I just went with the flow, that's when things started falling into place. So yeah, I started Pass Around the Smile as a blog to help myself, like, you know, feel better about the industry. Because, you know, I guess there was all this pressure coming out of H2O. And then of course, like Phoebe and Claire went on to like amazing things and like so good for them. And, you know, so much was happening. And I feel like there was this pressure of like, you've got to get a big role after such a big show. And it just wasn't happening for me. Just wasn't meant to be. But Pass Around the Smile was growing and growing and growing. And now with Pass Around the Smile, what it is, I feel so fulfilled and so positive in my life that I'm getting like incredible auditions. I'm getting the roles. My mum and I are actually co-creating a show that was picked up by a network. Like, wow, so things are happening so cool. now because of my mindset. And that's how the universe is like, we'll get you there, but it's not the right time yet. And I wasn't ready yet. And I never thought I'd get to a stage where I'd look back and I'd go, I'm so glad I didn't get those roles. Like I was so close to a role in Riverdale, like so close.
Wow.
And at the time I was so devastated. But now I'm like, thank God. Like, and I know that sounds silly and some people might just be like, oh, she's just saying thank God because she didn't get the role. But honestly, like Pass Around the Smile brings me so much love and joy and fulfillment that I just feel so happy in myself now that everything else is working and falling into place. So I guess like right now, my goal is balancing Pass Around the Smile and acting. And my acting goals have completely changed where I only want to do comedy. I would do dramedy, like light-hearted drama, but I won't audition for like horror films anymore. I won't do like really sad kind of stuff. And I'm just a bit more clear focused on where I want to go, who I want to work with. I don't want to live anywhere else. I'd go for projects, but I'm not going to be chasing that goal like I once was.
Kim, why haven't you done the dishes?
I'm not your slave, Cleo. Oh God.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler. It was so nice to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you.